victim, however you choose to look at it. Just dread in general, and I'm getting all panicky because this is not good writing. Of course, right. Hey y'all, it's Liz. Welcome back to my channel. I am not bringing you any book recommendations or reviews this week. This week I am writing like the greats. If you're unfamiliar with this series on my channel, which, like, fair, I only have 2 videos for this series so far. If you're unfamiliar with writing like the greats, this is a series of vlogs wherein I shift my writing routine and match it to the routine of a famous author. So far I've imitated W.H. Auden and Stephen King. Unfortunately, because of COVID, I've been really restricted in my ability to film these videos. It takes a lot of planning, a lot of forethought. Both my time and my ability to access certain establishments and other things that I would need to imitate different authors' writing routines have been largely restricted because of COVID, so that's why I only have 2 of these videos, but I honestly love filming them, and you guys seem to really enjoy watching them, so I'm so thrilled to be able to bring you another one today. This week's inspiration, or victim, however you choose to look at it, is John Steinbeck. Now, I personally have not been the biggest fan of all of Steinbeck's work, although I did enjoy The Grapes of Wrath in high school. I should reread that. I've been meaning to reread that, and I should do that. But in the research that I do in order to prepare for these videos, I found that John Steinbeck's approach to writing is something that I'm really able to wrap my head around in this very restricted time, and I think it's going to be really helpful for me to ease back into a daily writing routine and just writing regularly. So for the next 5 days, I'm going to be following 6 rules that John Steinbeck himself outlined for writing. Number 1, abandon the idea that you are ever going to finish. Lose track of the 400 pages and write just 1 page for each day. Number 2, write freely and as rapidly as possible and throw the whole thing on paper. Number 3, forget your generalized audience. In writing, your audience is one single reader. Number 4, if a scene or section gets the better of you and you still think you want it, bypass it and go on. Number 5, beware of a scene that becomes too dear to you. And number 6, if you are using dialogue, say it out loud as you write it. Now, I have already started making some headway on a new project that I've been working on for like a year. Through all of COVID, I had this premise and this idea swimming around in my head, and I've finally started making some headway on the first draft, so I'm going to be applying these 6 rules to that first draft. And when I say headway, I mean I've got like 10 pages written. I really have not done much, but it's kind of a slow-paced story to begin with, so I think this slower, more relaxed approach to writing is going to be very conducive to this particular story. And I am going to be taking these rules pretty literally. So for write freely and as rapidly as possible, I am actually going to be setting a time limit to get my writing done. I'm going to be limiting myself to 1 hour every day, which is not only a decent chunk of time for a writing session, but also is something that I can fit into my schedule pretty easily. Likewise, with that 1 page a day rule, I'm going to be following that rule to the letter, to a T. And I think this is what's going to be the most difficult for me this week. Generally, when I'm writing, I like to close out my writing sessions by finding a natural breaking point in the narrative, whether it's the end of the chapter or the end of a beat of some kind, the end of a scene. I like to close down my writing sessions knowing that when I come back and start a new writing session, I am gonna sort of be diving into something new within the narrative. And that mindset has really helped me to make solid headway during each writing session to progress the story forward. But I have no idea where on the page or how many words it's gonna take to reach that natural ending point. In following this rule as literally as possible, I'm not only going to be most likely finishing my writing sessions within the middle of a scene or the middle of a beat. I could very well be finishing up mid-paragraph or even mid-sentence. And I will cut myself off, but it's gonna be stressful, I think, and difficult for me to do that. But I'm excited. I'm excited to see where this experiment takes me. Knowing me, I'm not gonna be great about checking in every single day, and also since I'm doing this for 5 days and it's the same routine every day, I don't want this to get super repetitive, so I will probably check in with you again on day 3. Today's Monday, day 1. So I'll probably check in again on Wednesday and then on Friday and probably close out on Saturday. and I will see y'all in a bit. Okay, day 3 check-in as promised. So Monday I had given myself an hour to get my 1 page done. Yesterday I also gave myself an hour. Today this morning, I actually decided to cut down that time a little bit, pare it down, and restrict myself even further. So my writing sessions are now down to 45 minutes instead of an hour. I was finding that while 1 hour is usually a decent chunk of time for me to spend on writing, I'm usually writing a bit more than a page in an hour. And because I'm devoting an entire hour to just 1 page, I have more time to sit with my words and really think about them before putting them down on the page. And that kind of defeats the purpose of this experiment, definitely contradicts the just write everything down, write as quickly and as much as possible in one go rule. It's one of the rules that I'm supposed to be following this week, and I'm not, because I'm allowing myself too much time to sit and think about it. So I've restricted myself to 45 minutes. I may restrict myself further tomorrow. I may cut it down to half an hour. We'll see what happens. But this is definitely, so far, it's good for easing back into regular writing. Something that I have found myself struggling with though is that in writing super quickly and just trying to put everything onto the page as I go, it's become very thought dumpy, and I'm feeling a lot of performance anxiety. I don't know if that's exactly the term that I'm looking for here. Just dread in general. I am dreading this story right now, and it's because I'm questioning my abilities, and logically I know that the first draft is always supposed to look like shit. It's never supposed to be good. First drafts are never meant to be good, but that doesn't stop me from wanting it to be perfect the first time around. So I'm having a bit of anxiety about that. I'm reading back what I wrote the day before, just getting back into the flow of the story when I sit down for a new writing session, and I'm getting all panicky because this is not good writing. And I have to remind myself that that is the point, and good writing is what second drafts and third drafts and all levels of rewrites are for. It's just a little bit hard for me right now. But my hope is that the longer I stick with this, I might continue this, honestly, I might continue this experiment past 1 week. This vlog will only be 1 week, but I might continue on with these rules just because I have the time to do so, or rather, I don't have the time to do other things with regards to my writing. But hopefully the longer I stick with this, the more comfortable I will be with the fact that my first draft is not going to be publishable, but it's not supposed to be. Anyway, there's your check-in for day 3. I will catch up with y'all on Friday. everyone! Happy Friday. Friday, am I right? Of course right. It's Friday, which means it's day 5 of my writing like John Steinbeck initiative, experiment, project, what have you. Day 5 of this here Writing Like the Greats vlog. So I'm here to check in and let y'all know how it's going at the end of the week. I haven't actually done my writing for today. Throughout the week I've been getting up early so that I can spend an hour, 45 minutes, half an hour writing before I go to work. Today that was not possible. There was just a lot going on in my house this morning, so I'm actually going to do some writing on my lunch break, which is now. So I need to like wrap up this check-in real fast. I bumped myself down to half an hour writing yesterday. It wasn't good. It was not great. I ended up not actually being able to finish a full page within that half hour, which was unfortunate. I finished the full page for the day, but I wasn't able to do so within the allotted half hour, so I'm gonna bump myself back up for today, give myself 45 minutes, write a page. I am finding that I'm able to pick up the flow of the writing pretty easily when I dive back into a new writing session, which was not wholly unexpected, to be honest. I'm usually pretty good about picking up where I left off, but because I'm finishing right in the middle of things rather than at a natural closing point for a writing session the way that I usually do, my brain is still very much within the scene when I leave my writing session, and so coming back in, it's like just pressing play on a movie that you've paused for a day. I'm very much there. I'm able to really just dive back in, know exactly where I left off, exactly what I wanted to say. And I have found myself excited to come back to a new writing session on a different scale than I usually am excited to sit down and write, mostly because I'm finishing a session before I'm done with what I have to say for that session. And so the next session becomes about writing down everything I wanted to say the day before that I didn't get a chance to. I thought it was gonna be weird finishing up in the middle of things, but it's actually been kind of exciting. Monday and Tuesday I managed to finish off my writing session with like the end of a paragraph, so I was kind of closing things down. Wednesday I finished up mid-paragraph, and then yesterday I actually finished up mid-sentence. So today when I sit down to write, I am going to be picking up from the middle of a sentence, and that's weird, but also I know exactly where I want this sentence to go, and it's gonna send me right back into the flow of writing. So all in all, good experience. This is going to be my last check-in before closing thoughts and wrap up of this video, so I'm gonna go dive into my writing, and I guess I will see y'all at the outro. Alright folks, it is that time. It is time to close out this vlog. 5 days of John Steinbeck's approach to writing. And you know what? I feel okay. I am still struggling a little bit with that kind of panicky feeling about not writing well. But I do think the longer I stick with this, the more I will be able to come to terms with the fact that my first draft is not going to be perfect. I feel like I take away something new every time I do one of these videos. I am able to retain something of that author going forward in my own writing routine, which granted is kind of the point, like capital T, capital P, the point. But still, I think it's good to get out of your comfort zone and experience somebody else's routine. I feel like I'm not only learning about these authors in doing these videos, I'm also learning about myself and my own approach to writing. So for example, with Auden, the takeaway was I very much cannot sit still and write for 5 hours. I need to take breaks, I need to move around in order to not get stuck mentally. I have to not be stuck physically. With the Stephen King experiment, I was very pleasantly surprised to not need an outline, just knowing that I can dive into a story and not need an outline to move forward. It was very liberating, it was very freeing. And now this John Steinbeck approach, I feel like I've sort of been reminded to take it easy and just go slow. You know, slow and steady wins the race, and it doesn't have to be perfect. And in fact, what's that quote? There's a quote from East of Eden. I'm gonna look it up. Okay, so in East of Eden, there is a quote by John Steinbeck, obviously, because he wrote East of Eden. The quote is, "And now that you don't have to be perfect, you can start to be good." And I feel like that's been the vibe this week in terms of my writing. That has been the theme. And so I'm gonna try to live by that for a while. And I think that is my major takeaway from this experiment, from this experience of writing like John Steinbeck. Thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to my channel, and ring the bell so that you can be notified when I post new videos. Let me know what authors you would like to see me imitate going forward. There's probably going to be quite a bit of time between these videos because, as I mentioned in my intro, COVID has restricted me, but I do have a number of authors on my list already. I have Maya Angelou, Kurt Vonnegut, Ernest Hemingway, a whole bunch of prolific, famous authors whose writing routines I am hoping to imitate going forward. But if there are others that you would like to see, let me know down in the comments, and I can absolutely add them to my list. Thanks again for watching. I love you guys so much, and until next time, peace out, closest friends.